Hello there, folks. Got a hour's worth of content for you, and legal pad right here. Figure heck or high water, gonna get the information out there. So we've had a long time spent in looking in different ways to communicate restaurants' offerings in a cost-effective way, and the different examples of what's available to us. So, I'd like to tell you a story about an exploration we had. I got a phone call with Valpak because when I was looking to create solutions for restaurants, the idea was to get a gift. The gift to restaurants being a database of customers they could repeatedly communicate with and have a communication asset built up for them. So the idea was you'd get Valpak customers, they have a territory, and then you'd either get them added to an email list or a push notifications list where you'd be claiming a database of customers you could cost effectively communicate with, and then not have a fresh cost every time you send them a communication, because what you what you're doing is you're paying attention to what the initial cost is so you can do the math and go from there. And you're protected because you're able to on demand send your messaging, send out your call to action, send out reminders about your calendar. You select your communication assets you're going to add different people to. And again, no one can take away your cash flow practices, the rules you have, the personal rules you have for protecting yourself in all situations. Well, I wasn't very experienced on the phone, so it was an action we took to benefit restaurants without having the skill set to properly speak on the phone about what we wanted to get done. So it was one of the tank stories. It was one of the times where we did a face plant, and the call was a flop because she thought I was gonna be poaching customers, and in essence I was. I mean, we were gonna take the Valpak recipients and turn them into customers for the restaurant, and that's what was going to be the gift for the restaurants. Was their own pond, in essence, they could continually fish in. Now, this is the first live stream, but we're gonna get more of them done. Gonna be on honor for. Okay, so there was a glitch. Couldn't find the lavalier mic, but still want to be here for you guys. Let's go into what some of how the different cogs in the machine are, and how they can be a tool belt for you. So you probably have events such as Tuesday night trivia night, happy hour specials, gift cards, holiday gatherings, football games. The list goes on and on, where each individual restaurant has things they want to draw attention to, and calls to action they personally care about because it's what they want to remind their customer base about. And you may get approached with advertising and sponsorship and other things that aren't necessary, because you can pick and choose based on how the math plays out for us. Now, okay, so let's just get into it. Some calls to action could be: come to our Tuesday night event. How is it delivered? Through your communication assets. You can decide between email, Facebook events, push notifications. You explain what push notifications are. It's these little notifications that come up inside your phone. All you have to do is put a piece of code inside your website that allows people to select whether they would like notifications from you. It's about $25 a month, which I feel like it benefits the restaurant more than runaway ad costs and different approaches when there's a fixed monthly cost of $25 a month that lets you communicate with up to 1,000 people. You can go to pushcrew.com and do it yourself if you feel like it. So what we're going for here is to pair calls to action with communication assets and your calendar's frequency of delivery. The reason this can become powerful is it can be customized to each restaurant's goals. We know price is elastic, and we know not necessarily for restaurants, but for everybody. For everybody, price is elastic and based on what people will consider the value to be, and how much we help others. So the more of these can go well. Let's get into value for restaurants. Okay, so there are these quarterly events. Let's say there are 4 festivals that you happen to be aware of. There are so many more, but let's just say there's one festival coming up in 4 months that you know has an estimated attendance of 2,500 people as a conservative estimate regularly. It's the 8th year it's been running, and they've got pretty consistent people who show up there. The booth space is $250, and you can sell hamburgers for $8 a pop and scripts for wine and beer. So you're able to make sales at the event. And then you're also able to collect them for future communication. So you can get them to join your email list, or just say, go to our website, click allow notifications. We would love for you to hear about our Halloween party or our Dance This Tuesday. We would love to show you what you can do after your long work day so that you can come into our place and have a ball. And benefiting you by it being a low cost or no cost. It's not an ad expense that can go up from Facebook for how they can just run away. It's a set known thing in advance. And when everything's known in advance, you can run the numbers and say, hey, is this worth it? So 2,500 people, if you were to sell $8 a pop of hamburgers. I did this math once, and because this is a spur of the moment live stream, the numbers are escaping me, and we could sit and do a calculator over coffee or whatever. But these events are happening. These salmon runs are existing, and we're wondering if people are going to participate in the salmon runs or even acknowledge they exist. There are regular times where people are out looking to patron restaurants. You can either create it or show up when it's already happening and know about it in advance. So I guess the challenge we have for restaurants is: are you even a you're most likely aware there are regular events where large gatherings of people gather and they spend the whole day there with a group of people, enjoying the beer garden, enjoying the festivities. And you can be on a certain side of the table when they're having their festivities. If it might be a long fuse, but there is a bang at the end because there's planning and numbers involved, and you're able to know in advance what some of the estimations are, and you have control over the actions we take to prepare for the salmon run. Now, if you're not familiar with some of our other work, salmon runs are our expression of a lot of people coming by and are you going to be fishing or not? And are you do you have some kind of bait in the water for customers? So what can be done? What can be done? Well, you can create a Facebook page as your regular calendar, have regular events posted there. You can schedule out posts in advance as reminders. You can put push notifications inside your website so that if you want to say, we got a gift card deal, we got a purchase link here, we want you to reserve your tickets through Eventbrite, which you can sell from there, set any price you want, and promote it through Facebook, through text messaging, through email, through push notifications on your chalkboard inside your event, inside your establishment, and go from there. So one idea is on your chalkboard, which has your weekly specials, you can say, join our email list through Aweber, MailChimp, or GoPro. We recommend Aweber or MailChimp. Aweber or GetResponse. MailChimp you can do, but the technical side of MailChimp is a bit more tricky. And you can just send more reminders. Okay. This. So the question circles back to, what are the calls to action we're offering? What do they mean to you? What are the communication assets we're sending them from? And what's the math behind it and the cash flow practices we can keep to ensure there's a threshold of victory we've crossed? And are we doing it regularly? So let's say you've got an event you care about. Are you just gonna put up a Facebook event and say that's all we're doing? Or is it going to be written somewhere inside your establishment? Are tickets going to be up, which aren't free because because it's a for-profit operation for the restaurant? And are you giving people enough time to save it in their calendar? One thing you can do is use Add This software on your website to have people save it in their calendar in their phone so that they'll get reminded of this event they bought tickets for. And then you can start doing the math again. And the math's a consistent thing. It's a consistent thing so we can ensure victory. One thing we've noticed a lot of, I don't know if you've heard much with financial advisors, but there's this whole industry-wide scam thing that I don't believe too much in, because traditional financial advice has so many fees involved in it, and the advisor wins whether you win or not, which I don't agree with so much, because it seems like there's this correlation between traditional financial advisors and marketing advisors, where the client gets fees every step they take, and every move they make, there is a cost associated with it. And I firmly believe it doesn't have to be this way, because if you get a booth space to a festival at a fixed cost on the front end, we then know, hey, the ad costs aren't going to rise, and we won't be nickel and dimed after this space is secured, because from there we can decide whether we're going to have an email list up, which we know what the cost is there. It could be free, it could be a $20 piece of software, you could get Maripost, you could go from there, you could pair it with Eventbrite and Facebook events, which aren't an additional cost. And there are actions we can take which don't incur additional fees as we go along the process. For example, if you're going to type up an email reminding someone of your event, how does that harm the restaurant? If you're sending out regular reminders of it's trivia night, come in for dancing, come in for this band we're playing, you can get tickets at this link. Be careful, we're going to sell out. You can use things like it's a limited time offer and etc. to get them simply reminded. Sometimes it just takes suggestion to get customers in the door, because because they're not even thinking of it. They're looking for things to escape the workday, and after a 12 to 15 hour day of work, they just want a place to get a beer with a buddy. And we can be that space because we've reminded them with a $25 piece of software or your email newsletter and a Facebook event. This way you have more bait in the water with a cost you can live with, knowing that there's some transaction somewhere being offered to the customer base on a regular frequency that is enough for the restaurant. And we can have our eye on these festivals which have enough volume in them to tide you over through the lean months. I liken some of these festivals to eating enough for a bear preparing for winter. So these large events and these large gatherings have enough people in them with enough opportunity to sell out the cost of the sponsorship or whatever arrangement you have. With enough left over, you've got some insulation for the winter. You've got some insulation for the cold times, and it can carry you through. So I'm going to be on it for an hour because time for restaurants is what we care about, and we want to make time for you. So we're actually going to love to take you out to dinner, take you out to lunch, see what your goals are and how we can fit in some of us with you. In fact, I'll divulge a plan we've got. I've got some funds set aside to get a booth for a restaurant and demonstrate this. So this, what I'm offering to do is get a booth space for you, create an email opt-in page and push notifications, create your Facebook events, link in your Eventbrite ticket sales, which again isn't that tough. But once you have an organized list of the calls to actions you care about, the items on the calendar you want, the communication assets you currently have, then I can make recommendations about other potential communication assets, such as your employees mentioning events, which can be apparent, but if there's a systematic mention of it, a script. Text messaging can be you can get a certain amount of credits. Email, push notifications, all you have to do is install the code. If you have blog posts or a simple RSS feed, it can be pre-programmed with the purchase links inside of it. So, or your open table reservations. So you can get there now. One thing Open Table has is, in order to make a reservation, they get the customer's credit card information so to save the seat, which could be something which benefits the restaurant. Okay, since I made a promise myself to be on there for an hour for you guys, I'm going to tell you a little bit about how we got into this and got caring about restaurants, because there's some kindred things. There was a time in life where I signed some contracts with advisors who I thought if I hired millionaires and got them in my corner, I would the sky would open up and I'd be able to have family assets, and this would just it would come together because I'd be getting advice from the right people. The reality is, I signed the contract, went through a year of phone calls, and I was doing work in the wrong areas. So it's on me. And we came to this I guess communicating clearly is still a skill set to work on, which is part of the rules of life. Okay, so here's something. I feel like a restaurant can have rules of operation which benefit them. One rule of operation could be we send out an offer every weekend. On Thursday, our community knows what they can do on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday at our event. There's a purchase link delivered for tickets. Facebook events are up. An email was sent. Push notifications is sent out so that they can then add it to their phone calendar, where they then get a reminder, hey, you better show up to this restaurant and have a good time here. Bring your friends. It's easy on the phone. There's a little share link where they can say, we want to share this and get the rest of the community into the restaurant. An example of something I saw last night. I was driving back home and I saw a sign waiver next to a new brewery, a place called Puget Sound Taps, which I hope does well. And earlier in the month, I'd seen a Facebook event for the grand opening. It paired with a local food delivery place who's by a cool guy, and what attracted me to this scene was they're not sitting on their hands. There's a person outside waving a sign with the name of the place there, and it's getting attention for the restaurant, and it could help them thrive. So what was attractive was they're doing something. However, this sign waiver could be an expense when other communication assets may not be an expense that the restaurant has to incur. Now, it's great, but in anywhere we can cut costs and add sales, let's do it. Let's go for it there, because then there's more of a win. Okay. So there's absolutely nothing wrong with waving signs, because it does get attention. It worked. It worked. I just feel like there are on-demand options too. At the drop of a hat, you can send an email. At the drop of a hat, you can send a purchase link through push notifications and communicate with this database you built. It's working around the clock for you. So what gets me is when there's not these things in place when they could be, without harm to the restaurant's bottom line. Okay, so what are some of the quick things you can do? Let's go through it. You got a Facebook page. They can order on there with Schedulicity or other calendar apps. They can book a reservation. You can have e-gift cards created in GiftFly. There's a demo video of this. There's all sorts of demo videos on our Facebook page, our YouTube channel, and you can just ask me if there's something you want to do. Feel free to reach out. Shoot me an email at getrestaurantpatrons@gmail.com. I'll be more than happy to share how to get through some of the technical obstacles we've worked through, because it's their capabilities we've fought for so that we can share them with restaurants. All right. Now, if whatever the targets are, we can reverse engineer the math and go from there when inputting gift card prices, Eventbrite ticket sale prices, and on with the different calls to actions that we care about. So what are some of the things that I understand. Communication skill is definitely something to work on, but we've got the screw. We're gonna finish this live stream in an hour, so it'll still be an hour of content. Some of it's, I know some of it's worthwhile to you because you can put it into action, and it can, lead to sales, because we've seen it happen. Now, these Facebook events are seen. 80% of the population's on Facebook, and you don't have to participate in the ad costs, which are rising. You just have to post an event with ticket sales for availability through Eventbrite. You can remind them through email. I feel like we're talking in circles here, but wish they were in place for more restaurants. Because imagine a scene where someone's gets done with work on Thursday night or Friday night or whatever, and they get a message in their phone saying, "Come down to the local sports pub and relax for an hour," or "Gather your friends for trivia night. Here you can get a discounted gift card for your anniversary or birthday or whatever holiday special you've got going on." They get a notification in their phone, their laptop, and anywhere else they've allowed notifications through pushcrew.com. Pushcrew.com. And email. Email could be aweber and get response. And then you have the tools to create your own promotional calendar and decide whether you want to be involved in it or not. Then you have a collection tank for a customer database and the means to deliver your purchase links and whatever offerings or reminders you want to get them in the door, where they'll then make it habitual to be in your restaurant. Okay. This can gain momentum because it's